Welcome back, everybody. We are into week number 5 of the course, and this week we are going to look at facial expressions. Okay, so up until now we've been building up the forms of the face. Now it's time to manipulate them. Some people on the course are animators, so this will be really interesting to you. Everybody who draws and sculpts, this is the kind of stuff that we need to know to put expression into our portraits, right? And so pretty much we have to systematically go through all of the muscles in the face, all of the mimetic muscles, right? We talked about skeletal muscles already, bone to bone. The mimetic muscles are kind of bony attachment, bony origin, and an insertion on the skin, right? So it essentially pulls the skin around to manipulate the soft tissues to make expressions. Okay, and so we have quite a few things to talk about because when it comes to expressions, what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into per muscle activation and into something called action units. And action units come from the facial action coding system of a guy named Paul Ekman, who was a psychologist, and he kind of came to fame in the animation industry anyways, in I guess it's the early 2000s, right, when they did Gollum at Weta, and they used this body of work that Paul Ekman had put together as kind of the basis for creating Gollum's expressions. And what it really is it's a manual for investigators, psychologists, etc., to categorize the activation of all of the face on somebody and to use kind of these components, these action units, to build up a profile of kind of expression. And that's what we're going to use. We're going to use his system to break down the face and kind of describe what all of the expressions, what they do, right? And primarily expressions do just a handful of things to the face, right? And we read expressions very well because we're kind of trained to do that. We can read an expression on somebody, 100 meters away. Because we look at just a few kind of big markers on the face. It's not about the details, it's about kind of big things, right? So we read wrinkles, kind of big wrinkles, so forehead wrinkles, nasolabial furrow, squinting wrinkles. We read the shape of the brow, right? The line of the brow, sadness, anger, surprise. They all manipulate the brow, which we can read at a distance. It's a little fuzzy strip, right? Pretty easy to see. We also read how much white, how much sclera is showing on the eyes, right? If somebody's really kind of intense, they're kind of glaring with their eyes, and you see a lot of white. It's a component of anger or rage, right? And then we read the shape of the mouth, right? And so that's what we read for smile, for sadness, for disgust, for quite a few things, right? So when it comes to expressions, we can distill a lot of the complexity of the shapes that you see in life down to some very schematic kind of pieces. And it simplifies it greatly for us because we don't need to study super high detail resolution things, high resolution kind of drawings or sculptures. We can just do almost little cartoony characters to see how these big kind of shapes emote, how they create emotion. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the facial action coding system as relates to the facial muscles. And it's going to be quite systematic how we go through it, so it might be a little bit dry at times. This stuff can be, but it's the kind of thing you just have to trudge through a little bit, because in the end, when you learn all the components, that's when you can combine it into something useful, sensible, emotional, and that's when it pays off. But the study part sometimes is a little tedious. But I'll try to make it at least a little bit interesting. And one thing that I recommend to everybody, and probably I should have recommended this earlier for some of the other studies that we've done so far, but it would be really good if you had a little handheld mirror, kind of like this, to use during the lecture to investigate the same expression that we're talking about on yourself, right? Because there's no better way to study. I mean, people have been doing self-portraits for hundreds, if not thousands of years, right? And so a mirror will be infinitely useful to you in this exercise. So go out and spend $10 or whatever your local currency is and get one that you can have by your desk. In the animation business, people have mirrors by their desk all the time, right? Because it's kind of the most direct reference you can have. So as we work through it, check it out on yourself, see what it looks like, see how to do it yourself, and then, you know, when it comes to putting it onto a character or a figure or a drawing, you'll be that much closer to getting it right. Okay, so I think that is it. I think we should just get into it. So I will see you again shortly in the lecture. All right, thanks.